kind of suggested packing up and leaving.
Exactly.
But Marcus and I said that was a horrible idea.
You tell him. Yeah. I'm gonna. What's going on, YouTube? NC here, and today we are going to be doing another reaction. This one's going to be scary, so we're going to be doing it in the dark. But before we get into it, I just want to let you know, I don't care who you are, what you've been through, what you into, or what you do, Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see, my room is pitch black. I don't know if you can still see me or not because my PC is very bright. But we're going to be watching 3 Disturbing True Being Watched Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare. Now, I've seen some other people react to this stuff back whenever I was watching, and you know, seems pretty cool. But with that being said, let's just get into it, man. I spilled my water everywhere. Anyway, stay hydrated.
I used to live in a small studio apartment in Chicago when I finished college.
Okay.
It was not fancy, just a single room space on the top floor of a 3-story building.
Alright.
I chose it because rent was cheap and it was close to work. And as a 23-year-old with student loans and no savings, I didn't have the luxury of being picky. The apartment was clean, functional, and most importantly, mine. The only window in the place looked out over a narrow alley. Across the way was another apartment building, nearly identical to mine. The alley was tight, barely wide enough for a single car to squeeze through, and during the day, it barely got any sunlight. At night, it was pitch black. That never really bothered me much.
Okay.
I was working late nights at the time, bartending at a lounge on the north side. I usually got home around 2:30 or 3 in the morning. Then I'd make a quick meal and zone out on my phone until I passed out.
Maybe having the creepiest screenshots.
One night, like about a month into living there,
I could never
noticed something odd.
See that every night.
I had just walked in, kicked off my shoes, and turned on the overhead light when I thought I saw something move in the window across the alley.
If I see,
just a flicker.
Chill. No. Bro, do not jump scare me, bro.
I froze for a second.
Do not jump scare me, bro.
But when I looked again, there was nothing. The window was dark and still.
I'm noticing.
I shrugged it off. Maybe I startled someone. Or maybe it was just a draft.
From across the alley, though? Hold on, wait. He said it was right across the alley. That's not like someone watching you from like the other building. I don't know. That just seems like such an odd concept to me. Maybe I'm tweaked out though.
As soon as I turned on the lights, I saw the curtain shift in that same window. This time I was sure I saw it. A hand pulling the curtain back just slightly before letting it fall. I couldn't see the person behind it. The lights in the other apartment were off. It was just a sliver of movement in an otherwise black void.
Don't do that.
But the reason this really caught my attention was because I had never seen the lights on in that apartment. I always assumed that nobody had lived there.
Okay.
That night, I didn't sleep well. I kept thinking about that attic and the hand.
The attic
and the next
and the
week,
hand.
I started paying closer attention. Every night without fail, the curtain would move within seconds of me turning on my lights. It was subtle, but unmistakable.
Do not have these sound effects in my ear,
bro. It was the same thing every time. There was a slow parting in the curtain. I had a glimpse of the dark space beyond it, and then the curtain would close again. I began testing it.
Stop with these noises!
I would leave my lights off and sit silently by the window. When I did, nothing happened. But the moment I turned them on, even just the dim light by my couch, the curtain across the alley would shift. Someone was watching me.
Nah, but lock in though, right? So I got like... There's this space that I keep in my window because I got cacti over there, right? So like, there's this little thing, and then there's like a whole string of people across me. I wonder how many people could like just be looking in my room, like at times like this. At least one person do it. But yeah, back to the video though. Let me back in.
It was obvious. I tried to rationalize it, like maybe someone just liked looking out their window at night, but that didn't explain the timing.
Hold on, wait, log back in. Do you not got curtains? You not got curtains, bro? Curtains would be a non-negotiable if I was moving into my own spot, bro.
Explain the way it always coincided with my arrival. That was too big of a coincidence.
Or blinds.
I asked my landlord about the unit across the alley, and he told me it was vacant and had been for months. I pressed him. I asked if maybe someone had moved in recently.
Somebody chilling in there.
He even joked that I was being paranoid. I considered calling the police, but ultimately didn't because I felt like reporting someone possibly looking at me through a window in an empty apartment sounded ridiculous. There was no crime or proof. Just a feeling that grew worse every night. Then one night,
It's different 'cause I
everything
got roommates,
escalated
though.
when
Yo.
I came home later than usual, around
Hold on.
4 a.m.
Do not
The
piss
bar
me
had
off.
hosted a private event, and cleanup ran long,
He
so
said
I was
everything
exhausted
that
and
got
not
more
thinking
like
clearly.
scarier than usual or something. I know it's
I
finna
reached
like
my
have
door. I
I
noticed
don't know,
something
bro.
stuck in the frame. At first, I thought it was junk mail or a flyer, but when I pulled it free, I realized it was a crumpled note. It simply said, "Hey," written in pen.
Written in pen.
My legs went weak because the first thought I had was the apartment across the alley, so I ran to the window and looked across.
Yo.
The curtain was drawn and there was no movement.
Okay. Locked.
I called my friend Jamie, panicking. She lived across town but told me to come over right away. I grabbed a backpack, stuffed some essentials into it, and got out. The next day, I confronted the landlord again. This time, I demanded to see the apartment across the alley. He hesitated, but eventually agreed to meet there with the key. The place was dusty and completely empty, with not a single piece of furniture. The walls
No
were bare,
footprints or
the floor
fingerprints
creaked
or
with
nothing?
every step as if the place were 100 years old. But there, in the back room facing my window, was a single metal folding chair. It was positioned directly in
why'd you
front of the
do that,
window,
bro?
and they had access to an apartment that was supposed to be locked and empty. The police were called and they searched the place. I'm pretty sure they took fingerprints, but nothing came of it.
Okay.
The fact that my paranoia was correct the entire time,
Alrighty,
that I
alrighty.
was in fact being watched, it made me sick, wondering how long the stretches of time that sicko would watch me would be. I moved out that week.
Okay.
To this day, I have no idea who was watching me, how they got in, or how long it would have gone on if I hadn't found that note saying, "Hey."
Okay.
I've considered the possibility of it being the landlord, but ultimately I had to drop that theory because there's no way in hell he wouldn't have went over there to remove that chair before bringing me over there.
Exactly.
I still dream about that window, and sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night certain that someone, somewhere, is still watching me.
Hey, important lesson to remember, y'all. Y'all in the comments, lock in, right? I've never been told this, but I saw this in a comment section the other day, so it's a good time to bring it up. Yo, lock in, peep game. It don't matter who you are, right? This is mostly directed towards ladies, men. It's a good thing to keep in mind too, but it's mostly directed towards ladies, right? Never take the same route twice in one day. Never take the same route twice in one day. Right? Because on the very off chance that someone noticing and they paying attention and you take that route twice in one day, that second time might just be the one time you get got. Right? Like I said, men could pay attention too, but obviously, you know, I'm imagining you some sort of like you like me, you like 6'1", 6'2", swole, you know, like you big body black dreadheads, you know, I wouldn't want to kidnap you. I don't know who would, right? Big body black dreadhead. I want no parts.
When I was 12, my family moved to a
might
rural
edit
area
that out,
in
I don't know
Oregon,
yet.
miles from the nearest town. We
Okay,
lived on
see,
a
no, because that's crazy. Me personally, I am never moving. If the closest neighbor is any more than like, if the closest neighbor is any more than like a 2-minute drive from me, I'm not living there. Not even a 2-minute drive, a 1-minute drive. If the closest neighbor is more than like a 1-minute drive away from me, I'm not living there. I'm not. I can't and I won't.
large piece of land surrounded by dense pine forest. It was peaceful, quiet, and completely isolating. The house itself was built in the 1940s. It had
And the household? Yeah, nah, I got it.
the old house starter pack with things like creaky floors, a creepy attic, and a detached rundown shed that sat about 30 feet from the back door.
Okay.
The shed was packed with old tools and junk from the previous owner. My dad always meant to clean it out, but he never did. For the most part, we stayed away from it. I remember the first time I noticed something strange. It was a weeknight, close to midnight. I was up reading with the flashlight under the covers when I heard our dog, Max, barking uncontrollably.
Animals always know,
Max
bro.
was a golden
Remember,
retriever,
Animals
super
can
friendly
always
but
tell when
alert.
something's off.
When he barked like that, it meant something was wrong.
If your dog or cat
crept out of
meets
bed
someone
and
new
peeked
and
out
they
the
start
window.
barking and they really
He
don't
was
like that
facing the
person,
shed,
that's how you
barking
know.
into the
That's how you
darkness.
know that person need to
The
get
motion
out your
sensor
house.
light by the back door was on, casting long shadows across the lawn.
Okay.
I couldn't see anyone, but Max wouldn't stop. I didn't go out there. I just watched for a
Neither-
bit
I
until
wouldn't
he
have gone
calmed
out there
down.
either.
Then I walked away. The next morning, we found deep boot prints in the dirt between the house and the shed. My dad dismissed it, saying it was probably a neighbor or a drifter passing through, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Over the next few weeks, Max barked at that shed multiple times.
A neighbor from where?
Every time, we'd look outside and find nothing, but the footprints would be back, and they always led to the shed, never away from it.
Okay.
One night around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps on the gravel outside my window. I froze. The footsteps stopped, then resumed, moving toward the shed. I peeked through the blinds and
Yo, imagine he knows that he like woke up from the sound of the gravel. Just imagine someone sneaking outside your crib and then you wake up to the sound, your blinds close, everything, and they could just tell that like you just woke up. Nah, I'd be ghosted.
light by the back door flicked on, and for just
I'd
a
be
second,
spazzed.
I saw him. A tall man standing beside the shed
Do
door.
not show no images
was
to me,
wearing
yo.
what looked like a dirty gray coat. His face was obscured by shadows, and then the light went out. My heart pounded in my chest as I backed away from the window.
Okay.
I woke my parents. My dad grabbed his rifle and went outside, but the man was gone. The footprints were fresh though, right up to the shed. This time, my dad decided to check inside. He unlocked the padlock and pulled the doors open.
Just
But all there
imagine he,
was
like,
were just rusty
checked the
tools
shed
and old tarps.
and dude just lunged
He
at
added
him.
a new lock and reinforced the doors. For a while, things were quiet.
Alright.
Then, a month later,
1 month
Max
later.
went missing.
Ooh.
We searched everywhere, through the
Dog.
woods, up and down the road, even asked neighbors. He was gone. I was completely heartbroken. I held out hope that he'd return, and he just got lost in the woods. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. I kept thinking about the shed and Max, about the man I'd seen. Around 3 a.m., I heard the back door creak.
Ah,
got
nah,
out of bed.
tweaked. You in the crib? Yeah, nah, tweaked. Yeah, nah, it's GG's. Going broke, the only thing that I fear. If you know the rest, finish it in the comment section.
And tiptoed into the hallway. My dad was already up, holding his rifle.
Oh, Pops was ready.
Moved to the back door, just in time to see the motion light flicker on. There, standing by the shed, was the man again. Only this time, he was holding something. In one hand, a knife. In the other, Max's collar.
Oh, no.
When I saw this,
Yo! Nigga, stop! Nigga, cut that out! Dog, stop. Cut that out, bro. I'm not playing games.
I felt like my life
Chill
was
with that.
half sucked out of my body.
Chill with that.
Like this horrible weightlessness.
Chill with those
in
sounds,
which I
yeah.
almost felt like I was gonna fall down. My dad shouted and raised the rifle, but the man turned and ran into the woods. We called the
Better than
police.
me, I would've shot him on
They
sight.
searched the area, but found no
Okay.
trace of him. What they did find inside the shed made me sick. The floor had been cleared. In the dirt, someone had carved symbols, crude, disturbing images. In the corner was a pile of bones. Animal bones, hopefully. It got worse. Behind a false panel in the shed
Okay.
wall, the officers found a backpack filled with items that weren't ours. Wallets, watches, and a few pieces of worn clothing.
Okay.
Things that must have belonged to someone. Multiple someones. The strangest thing was a notebook. Pages and pages of strange symbols, incoherent rambling and jagged handwriting, and crude drawings of houses, families, and eyes.
Okay.
I believe that this was
Noticing,
some kind of
noticing.
message to us, saying he was watching us like he's watched other families. The police took all the items that were found. That night, while packing to leave, I looked out my window one last time to the
Do not
shed.
piss me off.
The police tape fluttered in the breeze, and all was quiet. But just beyond it, maybe 10 feet into the tree
Do
line,
not piss
I
me
saw
off.
a person's face. But the moment I blinked, it was gone. I screamed my dad's name in a desperate panic, yelling, "He's back!" My dad stormed into the room and looked out the window, asking where he was. I pointed straight at the shed and saw he was to the left, right by the woods. He ran to grab his rifle again, and this time he ran outside and screamed like a maniac while firing around. You can't imagine the anger and frustration of having to be chased out of your own home by a crazy, dangerous person who likely killed your dog.
Oh, yeah.
My
for
dad
sure.
was letting his frustration out in that moment. I know my dad wanted to kill that man. We moved out days later to a much less remote part of Oregon.
Exactly. If the closest neighbor not 1 minute drive away, I'm not living there. Maybe not even a 1 minute drive. 1 minute walk.
In the summer of 2018,
the closest neighbor, not a 1
my
minute
friends
walk.
and I,
Y'all might not
Abby,
even see me at the
Marcus,
crib.
his younger brother Tim, Tim's girlfriend Hannah, and me planned a weekend trip in the Blue
I know
Ridge
a guy named
Mountains.
Tim.
We were all in our early 20s, fresh out of college, and eager to unplug from everything.
Alright.
We picked a spot far off the grid, deep into the national park, where the trees grew thick, the air smelled of pine and damp soil, and there was no cell signal for miles.
Yo, I'll never understand people that just like go camping, yo. Like, I'm so for real. If I'm in the middle of the woods, nothing but a tent, right, that could easily be zipped open, right? Out in the middle of the woods, nothing but a tent that could easily be zipped open. The only thing I got on me is like a pocket knife, something, right? And anyone could just run up on me. Any animal could just run up on me. I'm not taking that risk.
The
People
first
that
night
go
was
camping
normal.
don't sit right with me.
We
I
hiked in with
can't,
our
like,
gear,
I can't back
found a
down.
clearing by a
Camping
lake
is
with
not-
just enough
you-
space
you'll
for
never
3
catch me
tents,
camping.
started
Simple.
a fire, and cooked hot dogs and marshmallows. We told stories, drank, and stayed up late watching the stars. The silence of the forest was relaxing.
Was it no?
It wasn't until the second night that things started to feel wrong. At around 11 p.m., we were still sitting around the fire laughing when Marcus suddenly stiffened and pointed towards the woods, asking if we saw that as well.
Saw what?
We
Yeah,
all
nah.
looked, but nothing was there.
Yeah, nah. We
He
leaving.
swore he saw
We
movement. A figure ducking behind a tree, maybe 30 or 40 yards away.
That
Tim
exact
dismissed it
moment
as
is
a deer.
out.
But then, 20 minutes later, we heard a stick snap in the same direction. This
Yo.
time it was loud.
Mr. Nightmare, you're gonna get
Abby
me
was
mad,
clearly
bro.
spooked
Stop.
and said she wanted to go to bed.
Go to bed. She wanted to just go to bed. So you see a shady figure 40 feet away from y'all, duck behind a tree, twig snaps in that correction. Everybody notice it. Everybody peep it, and you want to just sleep it off. Tired of it.
Everyone agreed to call it a night. We doused the fire, zipped up the tents, and tried to sleep. That night, I woke up to something that still haunts me. Breathing from just outside, probably not even 10 feet from my head. At first, I thought I was still in a half-dream state, but it continued. I was with 4 other people, though. It could have maybe been one of them going outside to pee, but I didn't hear the sound of a stream, just the breathing. The breathing also almost sounded like an older person, someone who was short of breath from smoking too much.
If I'm going camping, bro, I'm so for real. I'm staying in that tent. First of all, I'd never go camping, but if I did, I'm staying in that tent for all hours. All hours I'm staying in that tent. I will not leave that tent between the hours of me going to sleep. Even if I wake up in the middle of the night, if I gotta pee, I'm peeing in a water bottle.
For
I'm
my
so
flashlight, but didn't dare turn it on.
I wouldn't
The
have turned
breathing
it on
moved
either.
from one side of the tent to the other, then it stopped. I waited without saying a word, because it was the only thing I could do. Since the breathing stopped rather suddenly, I felt a sense of relief that my original thought of it being one of my friends peeing was accurate. So eventually, I fell asleep. In the morning, I said nothing. Neither did Abby.
Did
But
y'all
when we
leave?
met up for breakfast, Marcus had a concerned look on his face, like
Did
he was
y'all
antsy
leave?
to tell us something. He said someone was outside our tent last night. Hannah nodded and said she heard it too, and noted that
y'all
whoever it was
leave?
walked around the tent more than once, and it could have been more than one person. I asked the entire group if anyone got up to pee last night, and that maybe that's what we heard. Tim responded that he did go pee, but that he thought he saw a figure crouched near the fire pit around 4 a.m. We searched the area, and we found footprints in the ground circling all 3 tents. But in a spot where the dirt was a little wetter, more like mud, one of the footprints was very clearly from a bare human foot,
Okay.
not shoes or boots.
Alrighty.
This made the whole thing even stranger.
Still missing
They
the
led
part
into
where
the
y'all say
woods
y'all
and
did.
vanished. We tried to joke about it, saying maybe it was a crazy hiker or prankster, but it didn't feel like a joke.
Okay.
That night, we stayed up later, talking
And y'all
nervously around a
didn't
much
dip.
bigger fire.
Yo, I'm mad now, bro.
We kept our flashlights close.
This
Around
not
2
something for
a.m.,
people of my
we heard
skin
that
color.
awful sound of the crunching of leaves in the distance.
Okay.
But this time, there was a voice. It was a low voice, too quiet to understand, but definitely human. Marcus snapped on his flashlight. For a split second, we saw who it was. It was a man, fully naked, crouched
Ew.
behind one of the trees nearby.
Why?
He scrambled back into the trees like an animal that just got exposed. All of us were completely shook. We were too scared to even break off to go into our tents. Staying out in the open with all 5 of us together just felt safer. Hannah suggested packing up and leaving. But
Exactly.
Marcus and I said that was a horrible idea.
You tell him. Yeah. I'm gonna get mad.
Packing up camp this late and finding our way back to the car would not only be extremely difficult, but also extremely terrifying.
Okay.
Worrying that man was behind us, following us. That night was the worst night yet. Maybe one of the worst nights of my life. I didn't get a single second of sleep. I was wide awake, and perhaps that may have saved me or my belongings at the very least.
Okay.
However many hours had passed before I heard the distant sound of a stick snapping or a leaf crunching. I said out loud, "Please let it be a fucking deer," under my breath.
Was it? It wasn't
A
a
few
deer,
moments
was
of
it?
silence passed before a voice from out in the woods said, "I see you guys."
Yeah, and
It
we
was
saw
not
you
any
earlier.
of my friends.
We saw you
I
earlier.
didn't
You
know
was
if any of my
bubbly
friends
naked.
were awake and also heard it.
We saw
but
your
I heard none
penile
of them
organ
react.
flopping in the wind. Yeah, bro.
So
we
I guess
peeped
I was
that
too
4K.
scared to be
We
the
know.
only one reacting. What happened next, I never would have expected though.
Okay.
I heard my tent shift ever so slightly, which caused me to shoot up and look at the tent zipper, and it started to slowly move down. I started to scream at the top of my lungs, causing my friends to also
Swing.
start screaming.
Swing.
Whoever was on the other side of my tent took off, I presume, but I can't know for sure. All I know is all of us yelled at each other to communicate through the tents. I zipped the zipper back up fully, and I didn't hear breathing or footsteps again that night. I didn't fall asleep. I watched as the morning sun slowly started lighting up the place. At dawn, we packed everything and left. On the hike back to the car, the tension didn't leave us. At the ranger station, we told them everything. The ranger listened carefully, then said they've had reports. A man, maybe more than one, living out there. Some said they steal things, and others said worse.
Okay.
I don't know what worse meant.
With that being said, that's 3 Disturbing True Being Watched Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed his video, please go check out his channel. With that being said, God bless.
Stay down, came up, God made a way. Stay down, came up, God made a way. Stay down, came up, God made a way. Let me tell you about